Hello and welcome to today's episode of Filling the Gap, your one-stop shop for Pacers Gap Year coverage. I'm your host, Andrew Schreiner, and today we are discussing the Pacers' poor run of form and their 119-104 loss to the Celtics last night. But we'll be taking a little different approach rather than breaking down the game in close detail, because it's more of the same. Right? The Pacers just looked bad for a stretch and looked okay in others, but couldn't put together a full 48-minute effort against a good team. I've been wanting to do an episode like this one after each of the Pacers matchups with Boston this season, and the question that I'm going to tackle today is, why are their gap years going so differently? It's been a tale of two gap years, as the title of this episode indicates. And so, coming into the season, they really were in a very similar position. Both teams lost their leader, their star, number one star, to an Achilles injury in the playoffs, and have to adjust and find a way to make the year meaningful when you're not expecting to be as competitive. And if anything, I would have thought the Pacers had a better chance to be competitive because more of their core is intact from last year's team. They were less reliant on Halliburton's to score in isolation than the Celtics were. But it has obviously gone very different. So just to lay out how different it's gone, the Pacers are 10-35, jostling for the lottery. Meanwhile, the Celtics are 27-16 and hoping for home court advantage in the first two rounds of the playoffs. Possibly even could catch Detroit for the number one seed, but the two seems the most likely to me. And that gap was borne out in their matchups this season. Boston won the season series 3-1. The Pacers' only win came without Jaylen Brown playing. And so that's where we will start. One of the key differences between the teams this year has been the play of their new number one options, Jaylen Brown versus Pascal Siakam. Brown has flourished in Tatum's absence. He's an all-star starter. He is receiving legitimate MVP consideration, and he's averaging 29.8 points per game and solid rebound and assist numbers. Maybe he needs to think about, or Boston needs to think about moving him elsewhere, because he looks like someone who needs to be the lead player on a team when Tatum returns. Now, I don't think Boston should actually do that. I think they can still be better together, but he's played insanely well. He's been one of the top players in the league this year. Then Siakam, this is not a knock. This comparison is not really a knock on Siakam, because he has been excellent. He's been everything the Pacers asked him to be. It's not his fault that the season has gone the way that it is. He's averaging 24, 7, and 4. He's a possible all-star reserve, given he could represent Team World in the new format. The new format's a little weird, I think, but whatever. Probably gives him an advantage in getting in, because they need 8 players not from the U.S. to fill out a team. So he has a chance to be an all-star, but he does not match up, right? He and Brown are currently in different classes of players, right? The all-star starter versus fringe reserve, the all-NBA first team versus maybe all-NBA third team, but probably not given how the Pacers season has gone. And again, it's not really a knock on Siakam. The Pacers weren't asking him to be an MVP candidate this season. Siakam's done exactly what's been asked, but Brown has gone above and beyond for the Celtics. And then injuries, that's number 2. So both teams were facing a gap year because of injuries to stars. But Boston did not and has not faced the onslaught of injuries to their other key contributors early in the season. You look at their games played, all of their key contributors are in the high 30s or low 40s. The Pacers, that is not the case, right? The Pacers has been well documented here and elsewhere, have just had a brutal string of luck, and that's kept the team, I think, from creating any kind of consistency and developing that team chemistry that is essential for any NBA team. And then the last thing that I'll focus on are contributions from elsewhere, other players outside of their stars and the injured stars. So Boston has gotten increased scoring from Pritchard, from White, from Sam Hauser, from Queta at the center position, who's taken a much larger role with Horford leaving. in the offseason from Boston. And Anthony Simons has been a really good addition for them. He's scoring well. And those players have stepped into new roles or a new team. And really, they have flourished without Tatum. They've actually stepped into better playing and filled that vacuum. Meanwhile, I think the Pacers have largely been disappointed by the players you were waiting on, especially ones I would single out would be Mathurin, and some of that is injury. Okay, but there have been games where he's really been a non-factor even when he's been healthy. Jarris Walker has not lived up to the level of consistency that we would have liked to see from him. You've seen Furphy leap over Walker in the rotation, even getting some starts with injuries. And Isaiah Jackson has also been disappointing. He's also dealt with a few injuries, but when he's been on the floor, he can't help but foul and has not been an excellent offensive player either. And so whereas Boston has either gotten new players or old players in new roles who have really excelled, I think the Pacers have struggled. Nembhard has been good as a point guard, but he has faced some injuries. Neesmith has faced injuries. Siakam has been exactly what you asked of him. Huff has been a pleasant surprise, but he's not going to change a franchise. He's not that kind of player, I don't think. And the guys that were sort of waiting in the wings there have not stepped up to fill in to the void. And some of that comes down to Halliburton as well, right? He's a player who makes those around him better. The style that he plays makes other players better. And Tatum, not that he doesn't make other players better, but his contribution is more as an individual, as a scorer, to go out and get tough buckets, to get 30 points on a given night. And that's not Halliburton, right? He's going to be maybe a 20 and 10 guy, but those 10, right, create 30 other points or 25 other points for the bench and other starters as well. So I think that is why, and in hindsight, we can look back and say, oh, that makes sense that these two teams have had such different seasons, but based on expectation, it really is pretty jarring to see how differently these two teams who we thought were in basically the same situation, how differently their seasons have gone. So next up, the Pacers face a daunting challenge on Friday against the OKC Thunder. I think we all remember the double overtime classic that started the season. I do not have high hopes that they will replicate that effort or improve upon it and get the win in double overtime this time. In fact, it's pretty startling to think about how much our view of this team has changed since that night in late October. Then expecting a playoff appearance. Obviously, one game in, they'd competed with the champs, showed great hustle, great fight, great skill, and now here we are, half a game out of the worst record in the NBA. So thank you for watching today's episode. Be sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I will see you then.